Everyone, welcome back. Today we are in a reservoir in the mountains. I will put the coordinates in the description box down below. But a lot of you guys wanted to know what kind of food we cook when we are boondocking. So we don't have an unlimited amount of water or power or anything. So what kind of meals do we prepare? Today's video I want to share with you a very easy recipe that you can follow along, and I'm also going to share with you a few of the tips or things that you should keep in mind when you're trying to cook in your tiny kitchen or in your RV. We're going to be cooking the ultimate chicken burger, a very simple recipe, but today what I'm doing is I'm going to make it into a meal by adding a salad and one of our favorite dressings that I'm also going to share with you in this video. But before that, we need to talk a few other things that are important when you're cooking in your RV or your tiny kitchen. This is a very small area, so I need to make sure that when I'm cooking I can access everything in the kitchen, and some of the things that I have stored for cooking are not specifically in this area, so I need to be able to move around. So if you have kids, my number one recommendation is try to keep them outside for the time that you're gonna be cooking. If it's a cold day like today, you can make a lounge area. If you have a Class C, I've done it many times where I put a twin size mattress in that area. I'll give them a couple of books and they can go and hang out there. Another thing that you should keep in mind before cooking is that you do need some kind of ventilation. So you probably have to crack open a window like this one that I have here, because you are going to cook with propane if you have a stove like mine. So propane will consume the oxygen from, I'm gonna say it this way because I feel like this is the scariest way to say it. It will consume the oxygen inside your tiny home, your RV. Yes, we do have sensors and we do have something that will let us know if it's getting to that point, but we don't want to get to that point. In my experience, it's something that not only is going to help you with the condensation, but it's also going to help you just to make sure that you have the proper ventilation for cooking with propane. And at the same time, you don't want everything stinking. So you don't want your sheets or your comforters or everything to smell like food at the end of the day. Now today we are having some frozen pipes, and if you live in an area where it's cold, then you probably know that it does freeze. I mean, the pipes do freeze even in a regular house. So for us, when that happens, we just wait until the sun comes up and it warms up everything, but we don't open the faucets because we don't want to break anything, because it's going to put the pressure, and since it has the ice inside the pipes, it can rupture them and we're gonna end up with a very expensive fix. So for that reason, I have a method. When we are under this situation, I always keep some gallons of water in the basement area, and that way when I need to do this, it's okay. I mean, I do have the resources to do that, to use the toilet and to do, you know, cooking, dishes and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So what I usually do is put one of these basins or containers with soapy water, and then I have this other one that I boiled some water that is clean, and I'm gonna make sure that this thing, it's kind of going all over now, but I make sure that I have plenty of water to rinse the dishes. So instead of piling them and waiting until I'm done cooking to do the dishes, then I can do it this way. So I can, as soon as I'm done with something, I'll put it in the soapy water, then I'll rinse it here, and then it will go to dish rack. So I have one of these absorbent mats, so I can put it underneath and I don't get any water problems. I also have a couple of towels here. As you can see, I made a mess right here, so they are very much needed. So let's get started. I have this wood cutting board that I use it in two different ways. On this side, where it doesn't have the ridges, I use it for my vegetables, and on this side I use it for the meat. I usually also use one of these other plastic ones so it doesn't go all over, but if it does, that's okay because I don't cut vegetables on this side. So for this recipe, we're gonna need some chicken breast. So now I'm gonna cut them in half, the ones that are really thick, like this. I don't know if you can see it right there, but it's something like that. And we'll get 2 out of 1. So I'll put it back in the container here. And this is one of the things that I wash at last. You know, I'm not going to put it in those little basins because I don't want to contaminate everything, you know, do my dishes and whatever. That is going to be the last part of it. So now I'm going to get a piece of parchment paper and I'm going to put them like this, and I usually get a big piece and just do them all at once. You can do it one by one, and I'm going to put the exact measurements for the recipe in the description box down below. So it kind of sticks like that, and then I'm going to get my meat tenderizing thing. Just a little bit. So once they are a little bit more flat, we're gonna keep this with the chicken stuff, that it's not going to go with the regular stuff that I'm gonna wash. I am very particular about cross-contamination. Now I need to get an 1/8 egg white, and for that I'm gonna use one of these collapsible thingies. Well, actually, I think I'm gonna need them all today. So I'm gonna get them all out. These are amazing, and they were really cheap. I found them on Amazon. They even have lids if you have some stuff to, you know, some leftovers after you're done. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put this on the side because we don't need it right now. And I'm going to put here an egg white and cornstarch, a tablespoon of cornstarch. And I have a couple of eggs here specifically for this recipe, so I'm gonna try to get just the egg white. I'm gonna just keep that over there so I can use it for something different. And then I'm gonna get 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. So I'm gonna come back to this one where we put the chicken, and I'm gonna get it right here. I'm gonna get a little bit of that and just brush it on the chicken. Then I'm gonna take a cup of breadcrumbs. And I'm gonna put it in the bigger collapsible container. And then here I need an egg here. And I'm also going to put this because I don't want to waste it. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. I'm gonna put also a little bit of garlic. You don't have to add this. The recipe actually doesn't call for it, but I like to add it too. We're gonna grab the chicken. Again, we're gonna put it in the egg. And then okay, so I have a little bit of egg left, not too much, and I have a little bit of breadcrumbs. So I'm gonna make sure that everything is very well coated, and then get rid of this, whatever it's left. I'm gonna turn it on. It's a cast iron lid of one of the Dutch ovens that you can get at Walmart. So I'm gonna leave it for a little bit. I'm gonna turn on the fan and the light, and we're gonna let it sit there for just a minute. This is something that you can also do in the sinks since you have two of them. But since we're cooking, I need all that area for myself. I need it for prepping and for cutting and chopping and doing all that stuff. So if I do this in the sink, then I can't have that cutting board. And that is what is giving me the space to do everything in my tiny kitchen. So now this is my catch-all basket. It usually changes what I have here. The only stuff that it's always here is my spices and my salt, but the rest is according to whatever I'm gonna be using for the day. So if I know that I need to do a salad, this is gonna be here. If you know I do need this for the salad, I'm gonna make cookies later. So of course I need vanilla, the cornstarch for the chicken. So you get the idea. That kind of switches. So as soon as I'm done, then I'll put it away and move on to whatever I need. Now this is not organic blue agave. This is oil. So I'm gonna do a nice coating of oil, and then we are going to start frying our chicken. It's going to take between 6 to 8 minutes on each side. So make sure that you check it anyways, because it's going to depend on how thick the chicken is. It's been about 5 minutes. I don't know if you can hear me. Hopefully you can. So I'm turning them and adjusting. I'm gonna put it a little bit lower, the heat, so I can make sure that they're done by the time that they are golden on this other side. And as you can see, you're gonna be adding oil as needed, because yeah, it's just a little bit, so it makes it that a nice and golden crust. Now in the meantime, I'm gonna do the dressing for the salad, and I'm gonna do lemon juice. If you have lime juice, it's even better. But I'm gonna put about that much. I don't know if you can see it. And I'm gonna hurry because I had to turn off the fan for doing this. And also I'm gonna get a little bit of oil, equal amount. So if you do 3 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons of oil, which is the recipe, actually what it calls for. They need a little extra time, but they don't have any more oil, I will put it very low heat, and I will put the lid on, and this way it will create like an oven effect, and it will continue to cook the meat, but more from the inside and not so much browning it outside, because the low is so heat. But this retains, you know, the cast iron retains the hot more than any other kind of cooking ware. So for that reason, you know, it's hot already. It doesn't need to be on medium or really hot flame. Now for washing this, it needs to be done right away, so you will avoid a headache. Cast iron pans don't require soap. Actually, it's bad for them for soap, so I'm gonna use a little bit of the water from the rinse. As you can see right there, it will bubble up because it's really hot, and I'm gonna get rid of this water. Now that that's done, I'm gonna get some paper towels and gonna get rid of everything, because we don't want water to stay in our cast iron pans, because they will get rid of all the coating or the seasoning that you have already. So it's shiny because it's seasoned, right? And it won't stick. And if you leave it wet, it will start to stick. So yeah, that pan is clean. So what I'm gonna do is use one of these and I'm gonna set it on the table. So I wait until it's completely cold and store it away. You enjoy this recipe. If you have any tips or tricks or anything that you do while you're boondocking that you think it might help me, then please leave them in the comments down below. It might help me and other people that is looking for this kind of information. So also, if you're new, please subscribe so you can keep up with the new videos. I will try to upload one recipe a week, so that way I can share more of our go-to recipes that we have and that everyone enjoys.